Hello, guys. Today we are discussing a soul calling, and I have Aaron Quinonez with me, and he's going to tell us about his mission and how he's built it and also why he's doing it. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for having me on, Louisiana, the real LA. I love that. That is a great brand. I absolutely, and I just so happen to know great brands. Sergeant Q uh, is another great brand. So awesome branding. Got to give you mad props on that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very excited to hear about all the things that you're working on and also share them with my audience.
Yeah, absolutely. What I found in our life is that we're always faced with these giants that just seem bigger than we are. They could be financial, relational, anxiety, PTSD, past trauma. There's all these giants. There are things that we're dealing with that we try to avoid. And with my story, I struggled. I grew up in the mountains of Northern California, and my parents were marijuana farmers. And this was back in the 80s and 90s when it was highly illegal. And so I grew up in that outlaw lifestyle. From there, I went into the Marine Corps, did a deployment to Iraq, and when I come back, my mental health was just trash. I was struggling with anxiety and PTSD. Some of it came from my time in combat, but other parts of it came from my childhood that I never even realized. Nobody ever talked to us about mental health or trauma or any of these things. So I had no frame of reference. Well, I didn't know how to take control of my mental health, and I ended up very quickly losing my job and becoming homeless. And then I'm struggling with suicidal ideations. All within about 6 months that happened to me. And I remember sitting in my car. It was the 4th of July. It's a day of fireworks, family, and fun. But I was alone. And I was sitting in a vacant parking lot. I had just lost the best job that I ever had. And it wasn't because I couldn't do the work, it's because my mental health was unraveling. The war that I thought I left in Iraq had followed me home. And my body was just racked with cortisol and adrenaline. And it felt like hot fiberglass just pushing under my skin. Now, I hadn't eaten or slept in a couple of days. And I just wanted the pain to stop. And so ending my life seemed like a rational decision at the time. So I remember I was driving around the streets of the Pacific Northwest just looking for a quiet place to end my life. And then I found it. It was a vacant parking lot. And in the back was a really big 3-story brick building. And I drove up next to that building, parked in the shade, rolled my window down because I just wanted to feel the breeze on my face one last time. And as I rolled the window down and the breeze came in, it carried with it something unexpected, which was the sound of children playing nearby. And I remember thinking, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till these kids take off because I don't want them to have to find me. And so I sat there and I waited, and I waited. And then the voices faded. I had fallen asleep. And when I woke up, those suicidal ideations were gone. But I was shook because I didn't know where these thoughts were coming from or if they were going to come back again. So I remember I drove to the library and I started researching about the brain and what is going on in my mind and how do I fix it. A couple of days later, I got invited to go to church. It's like, you know what? Church is not my thing. I didn't grow up in church, not interested. But I was on this new journey of trying to figure out what's going on in my head. So I thought, what the heck? Let me go check out this church thing. So they gave me the address. Now, LA, you are probably too young to remember what a Thomas guide is. Do you know what a Thomas guide is? No? Okay. So a Thomas guide is before Google Maps. This was a book of physical maps, and you'd have to flip through it like a pirate trying to find where you're going. And so I had one of these, and as I'm getting closer and closer to the location, things start to feel oddly familiar. And I found myself driving right back into that same parking lot that I was in just a few days early. It was the parking lot of Renton Christian Schools. And inside their gymnasium on Sundays, a little tiny church called New Life Church would meet. I remember driving into that parking lot and I was shook. Like, did I die and now I'm living some weird Groundhog's Day all over again? I remember I sat there white knuckled watching all these people filing in. And remember, I'm struggling with mental health. So I'm like, am I hallucinating this? Like, what is happening in my brain? I was freaked out. I didn't know if I walked through those doors and that was it. That's the end, roll credits. That's the end. But I went inside and I listened to Pastor Troy Jones speak for the very first time. And he talked about feeling lost and alone, without hope. And I thought, wow, this guy is reading my mail. So he gave the altar call and I gave my life to the Lord that day. And I naively thought that everything in my life was going to change, but it didn't. All those symptoms were still there. But I knew there was something. And so I kept going back, trying to read and study the Bible. One of the pastors recognized me and said, hey, why don't you join one of these men's groups where they study the Bible together? And so I did that. And over the last 18 years, I've been studying neuroscience and scripture, learning how to fight on the battlefield of the mind and defeat those giants in my life. Now, those of you in the audience, you may have never struggled with homelessness or war combat, but I guarantee that every one of you guys has something in your life, a giant that seems bigger than you are, something that keeps coming back time and time and time again. And you try and stuff it away, you try and avoid it. But I believe that when you turn and you face those giants and you know how to defeat them in a very systematic, structured way, you'll be able to overcome those giants, build resilience, and live a more beneficial life.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and also how you were able to get to this point, right? With your mental health, your own hope and faith in yourself, right? And your own growth. And I would like us to hear a little bit more about how you incorporated those elements to help other people and what you're doing right now to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything I build is built on a biblical principle, and then validated by neuroscience. So here's a great example, and I've got hundreds of these, but the one I love to share is Jesus. Jesus says that it is better to give than to receive. And we all hear that and we think, oh, that sounds great. That's awesome. And it is. But let me break it down on a neuroscience level. So when you're helping other people, your brain, so I'm a nerd at this. I'm a nerd out right now. Okay, you guys. So when you're helping other people, you feel better. And everybody is shaking their head right now saying, yes, when I help other people, I feel better. Here's why. When you're helping other people, you're building dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are the four main brain chemicals you need to have a healthy brain. And so when you're helping other people, you're getting those because dopamine is your motivation neurochemical. When you accomplish a task, you get dopamine. So when you're helping people, you're usually accomplishing a bunch of tasks. So you get a bunch of dopamine. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone. It's that when we give somebody a hug or we feel appreciative, that's the hormone that's released. When women have babies, they produce a tremendous amount of this. It helps them bond with the baby. It's oxytocin. Serotonin is when you elevate your status in a group. So when you help somebody and they're grateful, they're thankful, that builds your serotonin. And endorphins. Usually when you're helping somebody, you're doing some sort of physical activity, which builds endorphins. But you're also probably a little nervous to go and help people. And that little bit of nervousness releases those neurochemicals as well, because your brain just doesn't release endorphins when you are experiencing pain or exertion. It also releases them when it thinks that there's going to be something scary happen. When it predicts pain is possible, it releases those as well. Now, most of you in the audience have experienced this when they call the runner's high. When you're running, you push yourself past the point of exhaustion, and your body says, we're going to break something. So it floods your system with all of these neurochemicals to reduce the pain. The same thing happens when I get on stage and I go speak, or when the Lord prompts me to pray for somebody and I'm like, I don't know them. I'm standing in the airport. They're going to think I'm a weirdo. It releases that because it anticipates pain. So I get dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, my daily dose, right? DOSE, of positive mental health chemicals. So this is what I teach people. I teach people how to build these simple tools in their life to be able to build resilience and overcome those giants in their life. So you in the audience, now that I've been talking about this, I want you to think, what is that one giant that you have in your life? That one thing that keeps coming back, that negative message, that giant, that thing that seems bigger than you are. And for the longest time, all you've been doing is pushing it aside, ignoring it. Oh, I'll deal with this later. We like to put it in this deal with it later box, but we never do. And then it overwhelms us and we find ourselves in a mental health crisis. Now, what is that one negative message, that one giant for you? Now, there's probably many, but all of you know that biggest one. I want you guys to just write that down, put it in your phone. What is that giant? And now I'm going to tell you that's not the first giant you have to face. It's actually the second one. The first one is called avoidance. When we avoid these things, then that giant gets to live in our brain rent free and continue to cause chaos after chaos after chaos. We can't avoid it. We have to face it. And there are 5 stages of this. And this is what I teach. I teach people the 5 stages of growth. The first one is just awareness, which all of you, congratulations. I just brought you into stage 1. You're all aware of the giant that's in your life. Yeah, here we go. You guys didn't realize we're going to battle right now on your first giant, which is avoidance. Here we go. Get ready. Okay. Stage 2 is called contemplation, where you've thought about this. Now, maybe you've thought about, I need to fix this area of my life. I need to get my health under control. I need to manage my stress better. I need to work on my marriage. Something in your life that you know you need to fix. And if you've ever thought about that, congratulations. Now we're in stage 2. Stage 3 is planning. So planning, where we've thought about it, we're aware of it, we've thought about it, and now we've created a plan. Like, I should go to this marriage seminar. I've read some books. I've studied some things. I kind of know a little bit. I've listened to a podcast like The Real LA right now, trying to build a plan to improve this area of my life, to defeat this giant. That's planning. And if you've done that, congratulations. Now you're in stage 3. But this is where some people get stuck, because planning feels like progress, but it's not. It's not. The Bible says, do not be hearers of the word only, but doers, which means we have to take action. And that's where this next stage comes in, stage 4, taking action, which means we've done something. We've gone to a seminar. We've signed up for counseling. We've talked to a pastor. We've gone in and done a marriage class or marriage seminar. We've done something in our life. We've taken some sort of action to defeat that giant. And if you've done that, now you're in stage 4. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This is where most people get stuck, because they tried and they failed. And so they don't want to try again. Oh, that didn't work for me. Or they've tried and failed, and then given up. This is where I was for a majority of my life. And then I learned this one simple thing for success, which is consistency plus time. So in stage 5, we take those action items and we build on those, and we create a daily routine to increase resiliency, to build the tools and the training you need to defeat those giants in your life. I teach an entire 4-hour workshop on this part right here. So no matter what giant you're facing, no matter where you are in your stages of growth, my 4-hour Giant Slayer workshop can help you build the tools and get the training you need to defeat those giants. It's a 4-hour workshop. What it does is it teaches you about the brain-body connection, how your thoughts, feelings, and emotions control your behavior, and how to take control of your mental health journey. This means you're going to build resilience, you're going to have better relationships, and the people around you are going to notice and want to know, why are you different? And then the challenge is for you to share what you know with them. So you can start to build that resilience in your friends and your family, in your church group, in your community, in your job, and then take it to the world. And so those are our 5 stages. And that's what I love to teach people.
Thank you so much. I really love the way that you involve Jesus in the psychology and the brain and how it actually makes total sense for the human mind to love other people, help other people is what we've been told to care for the next person. And the best way we can do that is by caring for ourselves, having the mindset that we need to have, and also that faith over fear, right? Always moving forward, not being anxious of how things are gonna look. Over time, we will get better at building that resilience and keep moving forward. So I want to know, how can we find out more about your workshop? Is there a website we can go to? Do you have any ebooks we can purchase?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely do. I'll give you guys some links into it. So it's my Giant Slayer workshop. If you find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, just SGTQ, you just put that in the old Google machine or in ChatGPT. Tons of stuff is going to pop up about me. Follow me on Facebook or any of the social medias. I'm constantly putting out free content. We call it the brain hacking evolution, where I teach people in 90 seconds how to build things. I also have a free mental health training that I do every single Sunday. Every single Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anybody can join this Zoom. It's a Zoom link. Find me on Facebook. You'll get that link. Send me a message. You're going to get the free link. From there, you're going to start seeing this entire army of people that I'm building. It's an army of people that know how to fight on the battlefield of the mind. You're not fighting this battle alone. I know the enemies in your mind want to tell you that, but you're not. There are hundreds of people who are fighting the same things you are. And I bring all of us together because we're stronger together. And if you want to join my workshop, you can absolutely do that. Send me a message. I'm actually going to give your listeners a discount code for that. So if you put in the real LA when you tell me you found me on this podcast, I'm going to give you a discount code for that. And I actually have one question for you. What's the giant in your life that you have to face?
The giant of my life, I would say, is myself. My mind, obviously.
Mm,
We I guess we question things too much, right? We always question how things are gonna look or how they're gonna work out. But I try to keep Jesus in my mind at the front of everything I do and just have that faith that I have good intentions and it's going to work for the best. So that's my giant. It's me.
For most of us, it really is. Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. I'd like to extend that invitation to you as well, to join, to come and check out my free mental health group and join the workshop. I think it would be tremendous for you to to understand this brain body connection, especially with the work that you do. It's so valuable. And I'm always looking for people who want to take this curriculum and then teach it to other people. So that's my personal invitation to you. You go through this and you think this is awesome. I want to be able to share this. I have an entire uh, what would I call it? It's built out online, so you can coach people through it very, very simply. It's not a coaching program because I'm not building a coaching program. What I'm doing is teaching people how to use this as a small group study, like you would do in a church, to be able to help people build resilience. So it's like a coaching platform, but I'm not building coaches. I'm building warriors who know how to fight and win on the battlefield of the mind. So I have a whole training for them, and I call that my Pathfinders. So it's my Pathfinders group. So if you come through it and you think, yes, I want to do this, I want to be a Pathfinder, I have a certification that I put you through, and then you can start sharing this with people that you're working with. And it's very simple plug and play. So that's my offer to you as well.
Thank you so much, and I'm really grateful for the discount also. If you guys want to use that, I think that's awesome. And once again, if there's any specific other links you want to shout out and any books that you have available, maybe on Amazon or online, just let us know.
Yeah. So I have my book is called Healing Through Service, The Warrior's Guidebook to Overcoming Trauma. And so you can find that on Amazon. Like I said, the best, easiest way for you guys to connect with me is through social media. You can find tons of free content there and then join my free group. It's going to really be helpful. And if there's people who you want to book me out for a speaking engagement, it's just SGT Quinonez, QUINONEZ.com. That's my speaker page. You can book me out. I speak at churches, organizations, businesses, teaching on this resilience piece. So if you want to book me out for a speaking engagement, workshop, love to be able to help you guys out with that. I'll make sure that my team gets you all of these links so you can put them in the show notes. That'll help out a lot.
All right, thank you so much for your time and what you're doing. And honestly, just working on yourself to get to this point. I know that that's the hardest part, slaying your own giant, like you said, so you can help other people. So it was really nice meeting you today and just learning about you.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for having me. And I hope that you guys in the audience, at least every one of you is in stage one right now. And the goal is to get to stage five. Okay. Doesn't matter how you get there, you just gotta get there. Because dealing with trauma, we all deal with it. Nobody gets out of this thing without dealing with trauma. And I tell people that, living with trauma and PTSD is a battle. Some days you win, some days you lose, but every day you fight.
Thank you so much. I believe you have a great message, and also the population you're helping is important.